Hi, I'm Lewis, also known as Skeffles, and welcome to my 21st devlog for my tower defense game, Project Torrim. Last week I created a variety of different projectiles, and this week I expanded upon that by creating the list of towers these projectiles work with. Getting these towers in place gets the game to a great point, allowing me to focus on balancing the gameplay. With that in mind, let's go through my progress this week. Until this week, the game has only really had two towers, the Monk and the Friar. Generally the Monk was better because it's cheap and has a fast fire rate, so there was no reason to spawn the Friar. However, last week I implemented a damage type system, which I can utilise to encourage a variety in the towers the player picks. To do this, I gave each enemy one weakness and one resistance. As the enemy tier increases, I rotate the damage type through these for each enemy. Using a similar pattern on the towers means I can balance each enemy wave and encourage a wider variety of towers. With this in mind, I have created 7 different towers, which should provide a great set of variety to the player. Like before, the first tower is the Monk. It's relatively fast firing, but deals low damage. This means it's great for the first few waves, but when the higher tier enemies start spawning, they begin to struggle. The second tower is the Ballista that I made last week. Taking on advice from Game Dev Basics and Mark Viola, I combined this tower with the Boomerang projectile and gave the Boomerang projectile more speed and distance. The third tower is the Slowdown tower I made 2 devlogs ago. I figured it would be good to put as a lower tier tower because it means the other towers can focus on enemies for longer. This makes it quite powerful, and I suspect I'll have to do some rebalancing with the enemy speeds to account for this, otherwise the slow enemies will just have no hope of moving. The fourth tower is the Friar. However, this time it's more like a higher tier version of the Monk, dealing more damage and causing knockback on enemies. The fifth tower is the Chain Tower, which fires the Lightning Chain projectile. This is probably my favourite projectile type, although looking at it right now I suspect I need to slow down the projectile because you can't really see the effect. The sixth tower is the Exploder. This can deal a lot of damage to multiple enemies, so I put it at quite a high tier, but I dislike that players only get introduced to the explosion projectile at such a late point. Perhaps I'll look into adding a smaller explosion at a lower tier. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And finally, the 7th tower is the Homer Tower, which fires homing projectiles across a long range. This is great, but there's a wee issue in which the projectile sticks around when the target dies. I hope this combination of towers works well together. I imagine I'll have to tweak the towers and enemies to keep the game balanced, but right now I feel like this is a good starting point. Thank you for watching this devlog for Project Torrim. Next week I plan to create sprites for these towers, so subscribe to be notified when that comes out. I hope you enjoyed watching, leave the video a like to let me know you did, and comment to give me any feedback. Thank you, and goodbye.